The break-even point analysis tells us how many units or how much do we need to sell our units for to make sure that we come out of this either even or to help us calculate what we need to do to be able to achieve a certain desired profit. So to do this, typically it will involve a little bit of rearranging the formula. So a good way to attack this one would be to write down each of the individual components of this formula, figure out what you do have and what you don't have, and then some slight algebra to rearrange for the unknown to solve the equation. So some of the things, just a quick revision: fixed costs are costs that do not change as production volume increases or decreases. A fixed cost could be storage of products. Regardless of how many products you make, you need to pay $10,000 a month for storage. If you make one product or 100 products, assuming they all fit within the storage area, you will still be paying the same amount. It is a fixed cost. But a variable cost changes relative to the volume of goods produced. So typically variable costs will have a per item or per unit after the cost, and that's a bit of a giveaway as to what a variable cost is. So we'll work through a break-even point analysis now so you can see the implementation and how to rearrange a formula for this. So now that we understand what the break-even point is and how we can get to it, we'll put that into a situation now. So first off, we need to start off by determining what our variable costs are and what our fixed costs are. So typically, our variable costs will be the ones which have a per unit after the costing. So here we've got gun setup, which is $60 per gun. So this cost, depending on how many guns we make, this cost on the invoice that we receive will actually change. So that's a variable cost. So I'll put a variable cost for that. Assembly, once again, per gun. So that's variable there. Training for assembler, $800. Regardless if we make 100 units, 200 units, 400 units, the training for the assembler will still be the same. So that is a fixed cost. Training for purchaser, per gun. So once again, per gun gives it away, so that's a variable cost. Shipping and fit out of storage, they're both fixed costs. They do not change regardless of how many products we make. So now we've got our fixed and variable costs. We need to write down what our formula is. So break-even point equals total fixed costs plus our desired profit, all divided by the unit sale price minus the total variable cost per unit. So we'll start off by writing down what we know that we have. So our break-even point in units. Break-even point units. It says here that Tim is only expecting to sell 30% of his 400. So if we do 0.3 times 400, or 30% of 400, he's expecting to sell 120 units. Our total fixed cost is the sum of all of our fixed costs here. So we've got 800 or 6,000, 7,000, 7,800. So our total fixed cost is 7,800. Desired profit. Desired profit is... He also wants to make a profit on these of $7,500. $7,500. Unit sale price. This is what we need to find out. the question is asking how much he needs to sell these for if he's expecting to sell 30%. So we need to determine what the unit sale price is. So we'll set that as X, as it's unknown. TVC, or total variable cost, we can determine it is the sum of all the variable costs for each unit. So 60 plus 200, 260 plus 40 is 300. So total variable cost is 300 per unit. So now we've got everything that we can put into the formula. So we've got 120 equals total fixed cost, so 7,800 plus 7,500, which is our desired profit, is divided by X, the unit sale price, which we don't know, minus the total variable cost, which is 300. So now what we need to do is do a little bit of algebra to figure out, to solve for X. So what you can do, you can swap these two on the bottom directly around. So you times both sides by X minus 300. But then you need to divide it this side by 120 to get it back over. So you can swap those two. So X minus 300 equals 7,800 plus 7,500 divided by 120. So that equals 15,300 divided by 120. And then to get X by itself, we need to add 300 to both sides. So plus 300. So we'll do that now. 15,300 divided by 120 plus 300 equals $427.50. So now, to get full marks for this answer, we will need to say Tim needs to sell the guns for $427.50 each to make a profit of $7,500. This formula can be rearranged to find out whatever missing figure that you need to. So if we knew that the sale price was going to be $450, but we didn't know how many units we needed to sell at that price, we could actually work that out. So let's do that for example's sake. So break-even point in units is total fixed cost plus desired profit divided by sale price minus total variable costs. So keeping the same figures everywhere else. So we've got 15,300 divided by, we'll say 450 is the sale price. So 450 minus 300 is 150. Had a brain fart. 15,300 divided by 150. And then we can give, which will give us our 15,300 divided by 150 equals 102 units. And then once again, for full marks, you'd have to say for Tim to make a profit of 7,500 selling at $450 per unit, he would have to sell 102 units to do so. Good luck with all your studies, and I really hope this video has helped you out in some way or another.